Yo, what's up, guys? I wanted to make a quick update because I did some tinkering and doesn't look much different, but those carbs have been out twice now, and basically found out that the floats in them were installed the other way around, if that makes sense. And there's a little adjustment in there that's supposed to adjust how high the float rides in the carb, and whoever rebuilt them last time didn't do them right. So the carb was all the way down, which actually makes the float, it makes the bowl full the most. So probably both of them are running rich, if they were running at all. I mean, they were, but so I don't have there's a specific tool that you can like kind of use to measure the float level, but you can also visually do it. So when I rebuilt them last weekend, I just visually inspected them and was able to kind of adjust the floats in them to make sure that they weren't too out of whack. And you can see I got this is a fuel pressure gauge, just checking the fuel pressure, and fuel pressure is actually pretty good. I'll start it up here, and I can tell the carbs are in a better position now than they were before, because it'll start right up. I don't need to push the throttle at all. And in fact, the throttle linkage is disconnected right now. And another update is, I think I didn't tell you last time I had that, rebuilt that, and that's been apart 2 times because I put the springs in the other way and actually ordered some new springs for the weights and it's a centrifugal distributor, and I put it in first, and the timing was all the way almost at 20 degrees and just idling, and so there's a small adjustment in there. And I did some research. I even ordered some replacement springs, but it turns out that the stock springs that were with it were actually still stronger than the replacement ones. So I have it adjusted all the way in, and that actually seems to be okay. I did time it, and the only way I timed it actually was just revving it all the way to like 3,000 and putting the max timing at around 35 degrees. I think 37 is the what's in the manual, but I don't know the gasoline that's in it, and so 35 is fine. I didn't hear any pinging or anything like that. But either way, I'll start it up real quick. And it's actually cold. Like, I think I turned it on for 2 seconds just to check the fuel pressure. And it's running on all 4, but I think it still needs to heat up to really get all 4 running. So it's intermittent. And what I really need to do is drive it around, but that's to coming. So there you go, right? And it's running on 2 right now, and then you'll hear those the other 2 coming on. And it was idling around 1200 RPM. It's kind of high right now. You can see the fuel pressure is bouncing around, but that's pretty good. It's not smoking nearly as much as it was. There's still some smoke coming out, so I'm sure it's burning some oil. But it's running on all 4, and I was adjusting the idle, and it's sensitive, but it's almost ready to actually get driven pretty hard, and we'll see what happens. But I'm waiting on more parts because when I did the valves, I must have messed this valve cover up because it's leaking right there. It wasn't leaking before, so I ordered some new valve cover gaskets. Those should be coming in and shortly, and hopefully I'll be able to actually give it a little road test. Other updates, I did verify those are real. They have the VIN numbers on the back, or not the VIN numbers, but the Porsche part numbers on the back. So those are real, which is a good verification. That's really about it, because I was just rebuilding the carbs basically twice, and then rebuilt the distributor twice, and that's kind of boring. It's been done before, so I didn't really show any of that. I do need to kind of tidy up the linkages in the back, because I can't, once I put the linkages on, it idles too high because there's some tension there, and then the actual the fuel line is getting in the way of the throttle linkages, so that's an issue. So that needs to be organized, which I can do pretty easily, I hope. And then I'll probably drive it around the block and see what happens. I mean, I have driven it. It drove really scary last time. You know, you can I hope you can see that it's kind of smoking up there, but the blinker works. But either way, I'll probably give it an oil change as well before I actually drive it, because I don't know how old that oil is. So little things here and there, just want to give an update. And once I get it driving, hopefully I actually get it registered. And it'll be something I can drive around and actually get hot enough to see how it's running. You can kind of hear it surging a little bit as it drops the cylinder and brings one back on. But see that it's just going up and down, but it's not bad. It's a lot better than it was. And when you rev it up, it actually comes off of the revs. Earlier, when you would rev it up, it would just stay high, and I think that was just because it was dumping fuel down the throats, and it wasn't working well. The only other thing I saw in the carbs was the accelerator pump. You know, there's these little nozzles that spray like fluid at a specific spot. There's actually a calibration, and there's actually a quantity you're supposed to measure. I didn't measure the quantity, but I did tune them so that they're all squirting down the throats of the carb. One of them was hitting the side of the carb, which was probably affecting some of the throttle stuff when it was actually, you know, when you actually rev it up. But yeah, as it heats up, you know, it's kind of doing left and right, but it's good. I think it's in a better spot. Oh, and the other thing I did was I got all new spark plugs. And the weird thing about this car that I've never seen before, but I had to look it up, is every spark plug that I took out, I replaced it with a new NGK plug, had a conical index washer on each spark plug. So someone was indexing the spark plugs, and if you don't know what that is, it means they were specifically turning them so that, you know, the flame front was open to the intake valve. So they're tuning them in and then putting in a washer in to know when to stop. And that just boggles my mind, because what kind of gearhead would do that for this car, right? But then like the valves were unadjusted or left like that, or you know, that carb was just completely dirty and it was rebuilt the wrong way. So who knows what the history is of when one owner tried to do something else and another owner did something else. I don't know, but the spark plugs are a bear to get out. So but I did that because I'm sure they were all black. You know, they're all running grits probably for a long time. So hopefully when I drive it too, that'll clear out some of that carbon. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, and until next time, I got some tuning up to do basically, and then maybe I'll even put a GoPro in the front and give it for a little drive and edit that and put that in a video, a drive video, first driving. So we'll see. But yep, till next time.